Hey everyone, this is Tony Teaches Tech. I'm Tony, and in this video I'm going to show you how to upload a video to YouTube via the YouTube Data API. Now, if you're not familiar, an API is an application programming interface, and we're going to be able to do this with the Python programming language. Okay, so there's some setup that we have to do here as far as creating a project and getting our credentials all in place. But once we do all of that, that's once and done, then we can use the API, execute a Python program, and upload a video that way directly from your local computer, whether it's a laptop, desktop, anything like that. So if that's something you want to learn how to do, I'm going to walk you through every step of the process. Let's go ahead and get right on into it. Okay, so here is a YouTube channel that I just created. There is no subscribers, no videos. We can check under the content section, nothing like that. So by the end of this video, like I said, the goal is to upload a video directly to YouTube via the API with Python. Okay. So how are we going to do that? We're going to use the YouTube Data API. Okay, and here at developers.google.com/YouTube version 3, getting started. If we come down here, you'll see a pretty good overview of what you're able to do with the API. But specifically, what we're interested in today is interacting with the API with Python. So you'll see these are all the different ways that you can interact with the YouTube API. We're interested in Python, so let's click on Python. And some of the prerequisites here are Python 2.7 or 3.5. We're going to use 3. something. I think it's probably 3.8. Actually, let's check that right now. So open up a terminal window on your computer and type in Python 3-V. So we're going to use Python 3.8.9. So things might be slightly different if you're not using that same exact version, but for the most part, as long as you're using a modern version of Python, then things should be pretty similar. Now, I don't recommend that you use the installed version of Python directly. So if we do which Python right now, Python 3, it's the version out of user local bin, okay? We want to create a virtual environment for this project that we're working on. So what I'm going to do is type in Python 3-M for virtual environment, and then we're going to just put that in an N folder, and we'll call it, since I already have demo in there, I'll just call it API, okay? So that's going to go ahead and basically take a copy of the Python binary and put it into that directory. And then if we want to activate that virtual environment, we can source the API subdirectory bin and then activate. So now when you see this, that means you're working within your virtual environment. And if we do which Python now, well, we should do which Python 3 as well. We're working out of user Tony Florida, the environment that we just created, and there's our Python binary. And we can do Python-V, and you'll see that we're still using 3.8.9. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, let's go back to the developers page here for the YouTube API, and let's install some of the packages that it recommends. So we'll do pip install the Google API Python client. Hit enter, and that'll do its thing. While that's going, let's get the other one, pip install Google OAuth library and Google Auth HTTP lib2. So if this is done, we can go ahead and execute that. Yep, so we'll do pip install that. And there will be another package that we have to install, but we'll get to that in a little bit. This is based on the recommendations here. That's what we need at this point. Okay, so now that we have that, what we need to do is create a project within the Google Cloud platform to represent our interactions with the API. So in order to do that, we want to go to cloud.google.com, open up a new tab, go to cloud.google.com. And if you don't already have a Google Cloud account, you'll have to create one. But once you do have a Google Cloud account, you can click on this console button up here to take you to your Google Cloud console. And what we want to do is to create a project to associate with our, our program that we're going to interact with the API. So we'll make a new project. I'll just call this Python YouTube demo. Okay, that's fine for now. We'll click create. and that's going to take a few seconds to create that project. But while that's happening, what we want to do, and okay, so it's done. So we'll select the project, and now you'll see here at the top, we're working within the Python YouTube demo project. Okay, so everything that we do from this point forward in Google Cloud Console will be associated with this project. All right, so what we want to do is open up the left-hand navigation menu over here and go to the API and services section. And what we want to do is enable the YouTube API for this project. So in here, we can do that. If we go to the library, we'll search for YouTube, and we want to interact with the YouTube Data API version 3. Click on that, and we will enable that API for this project. Okay, so that'll take a second or two to enable, and we should see it not on this page, but if we go back to the APIs and service pages, I think we'll see a green checkbox or something next to it. YouTube, here, the YouTube Data API version 3. How do we know? Oh, right. This is how we know it's enabled, because we have the option to disable it. Okay, so that's good for now. What we want to do is to create credentials for our API. So the reason you have to do this is because when you execute our command on the Python, when you execute the Python command in the terminal window, it needs to know which how should I describe it? Which project it's interacting with. Not only that, but it needs to give the user a way to sign into their YouTube account. Okay, so what we're going to do next is enabling all of that to happen. So right now we don't have any API keys or OAuth clients, and we'll need to get that. And just to make things crystal clear here, if we go back to the guide here for the YouTube API, and we click on upload a video, you'll see that we need a client ID and a client secret. So that's basically what we're working towards at this point. Okay, so what we want to do is create credentials. We want to create OAuth client ID, okay? And this is telling us first that we have to configure the consent screen. So let's do that first. This is going to be available externally. So the other option is internally, just within your business. So this is going to be available for anybody, but you will need to go through a verification process if you're going to make this available to everyone. But for now, we'll explicitly, and then this will make a sense in a second, we're going to explicitly say which users are able to use this API. Okay, so the actual application name, again, we'll pick something similar like Python YouTube app. The user support email, tonyteachestech@gmail.com. The app logo, I actually have, I think this is required, but if not, just put something up here for your app logo. The application domain, I don't know if you need all this stuff, but I'll go ahead and put it, tonyteaches.tech. I don't have a privacy policy link or terms of service link. And then authorized domains, I don't think we need to put anything in for that, but developer contact, we'll say tonyteachestech@gmail.com, and it looks like I have an error up here, so it seems to be https://tonyteaches.tech. Okay, missing, I guess we do have to add the domain name, so tonyteaches.tech. Okay, so fill out that information, save and continue. Hopefully that lets us through. Okay, and now this is asking us to pretty much, we enabled our project to interact with the YouTube API, but there's certain functionalities within the YouTube API that we only want to work with. So we can add that scope here, and basically what we only want to be able to do, excuse me, is to upload a video. So let's look for that scope in here, the upload scope, and that's this one right here, youtube.upload. So we want to add that to our API access. So you'll see that's down here. So we'll save and continue. And then, like I was saying before, the only people that are going to be able to use this app until it's approved by Google are the people that you explicitly give access. So I'm going to add a test user, and I'm going to add myself as a test user. So Tony teaches tech at gmail.com. And if you had a buddy that you want to test out your app, then you can put the email of your buddy here too. Okay, so we'll save that. And this is just a final preview screen. This is what we have enabled. So we'll go back to the dashboard. And now we can go ahead and add the OAuth credentials. So if we go back to credentials, try to do the same thing that we did before, create credentials, OAuth client ID. And the application, it's going to be desktop app because we're going to be running Python from the command line. And, we'll just say desktop client for now. So we'll create that. Okay, now we got our secret and our client ID and our client secret. So you can copy and paste them somewhere else, but they'll always be in here if we need it. So we can click on OK. And if we need to get this, I believe we can hit the edit box here. And yeah, we'll see our client ID and client secret. So at this point, what we're going to do is go back to the YouTube API overview page, upload a video section. And as it says here, to use OAuth 2.0, you'll need to create a client secrets.json file that contains this information. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's open up a terminal window. And we'll make a new file called client secrets.json. And basically copy this entire section right here into there, paste it in, and what we want to do is replace these brackets, right? So everything between this open bracket and the closed bracket, client ID, let's go ahead and grab the client ID, which is this one right here. So we'll copy that. You guys can see where this is going, I guess. Paste that in, and then the same thing for the client secret. Everything between the brackets, get rid of that. Just want to put it in the quotes. So we'll come back here, get our client secret, and paste that in. Okay, everything else we can leave the same. We'll go ahead and save this file. And at this point, let's go back to the YouTube API overview. And this is really cool because it actually gives you, somewhere on this page, an entire sample code for Python that actually allows you to upload a video to the API. So a lot of the work has been done for us with this sample code. So I'm going to copy this entire thing. We're going to have to make some modifications to it, but I'm going to copy this entire thing and put it into a file called uploadvideo.py. So back in your terminal or in your text editor, whatever you're working with, you can make a file called uploadvideo.py and paste in that code. Okay, now, like I said, if I've noticed, because I'm familiar with Python, that there are this Python code right here, let's look at it on the webpage, is written for Python version 2. And you can immediately tell that by the print statements. Okay, so where's a print statement? Here we go, print. They're saying print without any parentheses. So that tells me that this is Python version 2. So we're gonna have to come through here and fix that to basically upgrade this code to Python version 3. So let's find all the print lines here. And sorry, this is a manual process, but it's again, once and done thing to fix this code so it's Python 3 compatible. I don't think there's too many of these instances, but we'll make sure we get them all so that, because if we don't do this, then when we execute the Python program, it's going to give us an error, say that there's a syntax error, and we don't want that. So, okay, so there's 5 or 6 different instances of that I just fixed. Also, there's these exceptions, right, that are not Python 3 compatible. So I think if we look for error, HTTP error, except HTTP error, for Python 3, that has to be as E, right? What else do we got? Python, yeah, this one has to be changed to as, I think that's it. Let me see, look at the other exceptions. This one would probably have to change to as e. And okay, so I think that's good. There's something else that we had to change here. Oh yeah, HTTP lib. I don't think that's Python 3 compatible. So get rid of this first line here. We only want to use HTTP lib 2, and then get rid of these references down here to HTTP lib. So that's this line, this line, this line, and this section here. I'm not saying this code is going to be completely like production ready, but it will get us to interact with the API, which is the goal here. Okay, so is there any other references to that? Nope, everything else is HTTP 2. And now, like I said, there's one other package that we have to work to install to be compatible with Python 3, and that is the OAuth 2 client package. So go ahead and install that. That'll be really quick. And now we are finally ready to upload a video to the YouTube API via Python. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll open this just so we can keep an eye on it as that's happening in the background. And actually, we'll minimize that for a second. I have this video on my desktop, helloworld.mp4. It's just like a 10-second video of me sitting here in the studio. And that's what we're going to be uploading to YouTube. So as it says here, actually back here, it gives you some sample commands that you can execute right here. So Python, you're calling the Python program upload.py, and you're passing it in these parameters, okay? So just to save some time, I've already copied that. I'll copy it and paste it into the terminal window here, and I'll walk you through it. So we're going to execute the upload.py file that we just created. The file name that we're going to upload is on my desktop. It's called helloworld.mp4. The title of the video on YouTube is going to be Hello YouTube Data API, like, comment, subscribe. The description of the video on YouTube is going to be the results of uploading my first video to YouTube via API. The keywords, we'll point that out, are going to be YouTube API, Hello World, like, comment, subscribe. The category is going to be 22. That's an ID associated with one of the categories. And then the privacy status is private, so it's not going to be public by default. So when we execute this, fingers crossed if we got everything right, it should start the upload to YouTube. I forgot, we have to sign in, like I talked about in the beginning of this video. We have to tell YouTube where to upload this to. Whose account are we going to upload this to? It's going to be tonyteachestech@gmail.com. So we're giving, I should go back a second here. This is the name that we gave to our application in the developer console, Python YouTube app. So that's where that comes full circle. That's how that's coming into the picture here. So we're asking, the Python YouTube app is seeing, where am I going to upload this video to? We're going to upload it to tonyteachestech@gmail.com. And again, because this isn't verified by Google, it's just a developed app at this point. We know the developer, it's myself. So we can go ahead and continue with the unverified app. And it's asking us about the permissions. Remember, we explicitly said the scope of the YouTube API is going to be uploading the video. So that's why you see that here. So we're going to allow that. And one final confirmation here to manage your YouTube videos. Hit allow. Authentication flow has completed. If we go back here, we got to be quick here. Uploading file. All right, so our program is uploading the file to YouTube. It shouldn't take that long, and if we refresh the page back here on YouTube, we should start to see some of that happening. There we go. Processing will begin shortly. Let's see if the terminal window has finished. Still uploading. It's finished. So the video ID NL446 ends in Q. I'll show you where that comes into the picture. So if we go back here, go to the content, which we're already at the content, go to the details for this, you'll see that the information that we passed in on the command line, Hello YouTube Data API, like, comment, subscribe, that's the title. We got the description. Down here under show more, we have the tags that we associated with this. and somewhere the category. So the category with the ID of 22 is people and blogs. There, you can look that up somewhere else. These are predetermined categories that have an ID associated with them. So that's all the information that we pass it. And of course the YouTube, the video file itself, which is now has a visibility of private, but if we wanted to, we could make this public very easily. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The first time I did this, I was really impressed that YouTube gives us as users the capability to do this, because that's very powerful, especially for somebody like me who produces multiple videos per week. Integrating it, building a project for myself, a program that will upload videos so I don't have to manually do it, is extremely helpful in my opinion. Now, before we wrap up this video, I just want to point out a couple other things. If you do, the video ID, the NL446, that is part of the URL for your video. So that's where that comes into the picture. But anyway, like I was saying, I'll show you over here. This code is depending on command line arguments, right? As you saw. So dash file, dash title, dash description. These are command line arguments, and these are being parsed by arg parser, if you're familiar with that. So arg parser is taking all of these variables in from the command line and actually making them into variables in Python. So if you want to see an example of how you don't need to use arg parser to do that, if you just want to pass them in via a function, like via function parameters, I actually wrote an entire program called VideoFlow on GitHub, which you can check that out, github.com/TonyFlow/VideoFlow. And in here, this taps into the YouTube API. You can try it out if you want. This is my workflow for Tony Teaches Tech, how I upload videos to YouTube from this point forward. And you can come through, look through some of these Python scripts to see how I interact with the YouTube API without passing in command line parameters or anything like that. So I just wanted to make you guys that is available for you to look at, free on GitHub. Check it out. Follow me on GitHub. And yeah, definitely subscribe to me on this channel too, because I like making content like this. This stuff like this excites me. Hopefully it excites you too, because if it does, that's why you should subscribe, so you can see more videos like this from me in the future. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you do end up subscribing, I will see you in the next video.